This is Advanced Tech for the Sailrite Ultrafeed sewing machine.
Hi, this is Advanced Tech for the Sailrite Ultrafeed. This could apply to either the LSZ1 or the LS1 sewing machine. And the issue would be bobbin winder wheel, which is right down here, not making contact with the gear surface on the flywheel, which would obviously mean that the spindle would not spin. Now, the first thing to check when you potentially have that problem is if you grab the spindle, how much up-down movement is there to it? You can see we've got maybe a 1/16 of an inch here, which is appropriate. The white hub underneath here is simply press fit to the bottom side of the spindle. So if that press comes loose, you'll have excessive play up and down here, and then we need to take this assembly off so we can get to it. And basically the easiest thing to do is to super glue the white hub back to the spindle. I want to show you how to take this apart. Now this is a zigzag machine. It's a little more complicated than the straight stitch. The straight stitch simply has a bobbin winder assembly that stops about there. So you only have 2 screws to remove to pull the whole thing off and do what you need to do. On the zigzag, we've got a little bit more to the mechanism, and there's a 3rd screw here. So we want to make sure that when we take this off, we get it back in the exact same position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the casting here. Okay, so we're going to mark there, there, and I want to know how far back. Actually, it looks like I'm going to have to mark it up here. There we go. You just want to be sure you can get it back in the same position. That should be fine. And then now what we do is just loosen, we can loosen this screw. Actually, let's remove this one. And we'll loosen this one. And then this one has to be loosened as well. Now, before you remove this, you should notice there's a washer here, and this piece will come out. You want to try and make sure you see how it went in there so that you can get it back in the same position. And when I take this off, I also want to make sure if the little washer here, sorry about my Band-Aid, that washer comes off. See that? We don't want to lose that piece right there. It might have come up with this. So make sure it's positioned back on that post. Okay? And now we have our piece out. And at this point, you can see that that wheel is pressed onto there. And actually, all you would need to do if yours is loose is pull it off the rest of the way. And you might need to do that by turning this upside down and putting it on a hard surface and tapping it with a punch to pop the wheel out. And then once you have it out, just put a dab of super glue on the inside of the hub, press it back in, and make sure that you don't have more than that 1/16 inch of play. And you will not have that problem any longer. And then your bobbin winder should go back to functioning. And that's all there is to it. Now when we put this back together again, slide it in at an angle like so to get that washer engaged over here at this end, and then slide it under your screw there and under this one here. There we go. And make sure that end is still engaged. It is not. I lost my washer there. Hang on a second. Let me get it down again. You got to make sure that piece right there stays in position. I'm going to loosen this just a bit more. Yeah, now there we go. So everything's in place under there. And now I can put this piece back in, or this screw back in. And my marks are going to be hard for you to see, but I can see I need to have that positioned about right there. right there. Now you might ask, now this piece, we want to make sure that this washer that slides is still positioned properly. When it's kicked in the right position, when you have the right lever or the centering lever over to the right, there shouldn't be any play in it left and right when it's up against its stop. If there is, you loosen this screw and you kick that washer over. But I've got it just about right there, drops in nicely. So we're going to tighten that up, snug that up, snug this up. Now, if I didn't get it repositioned perfectly, what's going to happen is that when I'm in, let's put some power to this machine, when I'm in a straight stitch operation on center position, my needle bar frame will move a little bit. And you can see it's not. It's nice and stationary. So I got it set just perfectly. If I didn't have that set right, I could either reposition this or I could make the adjustment right here. If I were to loosen this screw, there's a slot and the plate underneath it, and that would allow me to kick this piece left and right a little bit until I find the sweet spot where there's no movement left and right in the needle bar frame. But like I say, because of our matchup marks, we have it set properly, so we don't have any issues to worry about. So the final thing I do is put my top cover back on. Notice my bobbin winder is going to spin fine, and yours should too if that play up and down has been eliminated. And that's all there is to fixing that particular issue.
This has been a compilation of the Advanced Tech videos to help you resolve any issue you may have with the Say Right sewing machine.